What's up, collectors? So 2020, we've been home buying up all of the fragrances from all of the discounted sites, taking advantage of all the sales from the major big box brands, and buying everything for ourselves. But it's Christmas time, and we gotta buy a lady something. So if you're gonna buy a gift, get her something straight from your heart, which is fragrances. You're passionate about it like I am, right? I got 5 fragrances that you could buy your lady for this Christmas. Let's go. Welcome back. My name is Earl, and this is a Casual Collector. So I must admit, I have bought a lot of fragrances over this course of the pandemic, over the course of 2020. But I hadn't been so selfish. I would actually buy my wife fragrances as I bought fragrances for myself too. So I figured, why not make a list of 5 fragrances that you could give your lady that I think she'll love. You want to know what they are? Let's get into it. So the first fragrance is one that you could buy if you're on the younger side of things, or if your lady is just really young at heart. It's a fresh, fruity floral fragrance that has notes like coconut and orange blossom. Presentation is on the playful side, so I believe the fragrance is meant to be a playful fragrance. To me, this fragrance could go for all seasons. Ude juice. The detail in this fragrance is pretty dope because it's shaped like a juice box. You can't see it too close, but it also has like lipstick around the straw, which I thought was pretty creative for the detail. The fragrance in itself isn't something too unique. It's something that you would have smelled before. It has like a candy, fruity type smell to it, but it could be used for any age group. I think if you had like someone younger on the teenage range, this would be a great start, especially for the price. But any woman could wear it, so if you're a little bit older and then the presentation catches your eye, I think you'll really get a kick out of this fragrance, especially for the presentation. It's not super aromatic. It sits closer to the skin, or at least from the way my wife was wearing it. So this isn't something that will like fill up a room or anything of the sort. To me, this is like a step up from the Victoria's Secret body sprays or the Bed Bath & Beyond body sprays, I think it is. With the same playfulness, but just with a little bit better quality. So the first fragrance is Ude Juice. So this next fragrance is a very affordable fragrance, but not one that you could find many places. This fragrance can be found on Amazon or at like the fragrance outlets in the mall. Probably cheaper on Amazon and Walmart.com. But the crazy thing is, for as low as the price is, this fragrance is amazing. I would almost go as far as to call it a hidden gem. You can't find much write-up on it on Fragrantica or base notes. But what I can tell you about it, it's aromatic, it's fruity, it has some depth to it. It lasts for a pretty decent amount of time, and my girl loves it, so I think your girl will love it. So my second fragrance is by the house of Joanne B. Parfums, and it's Rich de Leash. So I actually came across this fragrance in a fragrance outlet store in the mall. So I did pay a little bit higher price for it. But when I took my first whiff of it, I was like, damn, I think my girl will like this. So I brought it home. She was like, what do you got now? Because every time I go out, I kind of come back with something. But when she smelled it, she was like, oh wow. And then maybe like a week or two later, she wore it one day. She's working from home. And I stepped in the room. I was like, damn, what are you wearing? And she was like, it's the Rich de Leash that you bought. And I was like, okay, this is definitely a banger. I'm talking about this fragrance definitely did fill up the room. She does about 4 or 5 sprays. We try not to overspray our fragrances unless we absolutely have to. So I know her, she probably did maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. And went on about her day. The fragrance has a pretty nice note breakdown with peach, cotton candy, jasmine, patchouli, iris. Typical for a lot of female fragrances. I actually think all of the fragrances that I'm gonna name today has patchouli in them. My wife is a big fan of patchouli fragrances. So if you look at the presentation of the fragrance, it kind of gives you the idea that it's supposed to have like an elegant, dressy feel to it, and I can agree. I would think this would be a great fragrance for work, or maybe even getting dressed up and going out. This is one of those fragrances. Most of these fragrances could be worn in versatile settings, but I do think this was meant to be a little bit more dressed up. And it's a hidden gem. $20, $25 on Amazon. I think I saw it on Walmart website too. For 25 to 30 bucks, man, this is an awesome fragrance. And an awesome pick for your lady, especially if she's not tied to name brands and stuff like that. Because like I said, you can't find a whole lot about this, even though they do have multiple different fragrances online. So the second fragrance is Rich de Leash. So the third fragrance, we're getting a little bit more mature. This is for the floral lovers, the rose, but the more modern rose, not the old rose or the potpourri type of scents that you used to get or that your grandmother or your mother used to wear. This is definitely modern, something that would fit today's culture and fragrances. It's a fragrance that's categorized as ideal and voluptuous, and I kind of agree. So my third fragrance is from Novatus Parfums, and it's Idola. So I purchased this fragrance when I purchased the Enamored set by Novatus Parfum, a big beard business creation. It was the female fragrance within the line, although I believe he said that all the fragrances are supposed to be unisex. But the voluptuous part about this fragrance is the rose. He used two different types of roses in this fragrance. He also has vanilla, I believe patchouli is in here, mandarin orange, and peach. So it's one of those fragrances that has fruity nuances, but it's kind of muted or plays the background to the rose. But the rose isn't a punchy, thorny rose. It's very well blended in, which helps the vanilla and the peach kind of come out. They kind of play the sides while the rose is playing the center. But when my wife first tried it, she said, oh, that's cool. But the cool thing about it is, as she started to wear it more, it grew more on her because she's not really a big rose person. But she did notice how it envelops in regards to the heart and the dry down. So it has phases. It doesn't necessarily stay linear. It goes from that heavy rose dominant in the top to more or less that soft peachiness in the middle, and then that vanilla in the end. So it's one of those fragrances that actually dries down to a bit of creaminess, while in the beginning it comes off very floral. So if your wife or if your girl likes floral notes, or maybe even not your girl, maybe your mom or your aunt, like I said, I do believe this is a more mature fragrance. This isn't something that I see younger people gravitating to, which is fine. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. That's a great thing about this community and fragrances in general. But I definitely do think this is a good fragrance to pick up, and it's something that I definitely think your girl will enjoy if she's into rose and soft fruity notes. So my third fragrance is Novatus Parfum Idola. So this fourth fragrance I absolutely love. I remember going to Ulta and getting my nose on it. I brought home the test strip for my lady, and she was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Disregarded it, didn't think of it. Maybe a couple months later, we were in the mall, and I was in the store purchasing the fragrance. And I said, hey, you remember the test strip I brought home? She was like,
no, you bring home way too many test strips.
So I just asked the salesperson to pull it down. She pulled it down, gave her opportunity to smell it. She was like, oh, I think I'm gonna really like this. Get it home, actually put it on the skin, and she was like,
yeah.
She was pretty blown away about it. And I was like, yeah, I told you, shouldn't do that, but I did it anyway. Because this is a really great fragrance. This fragrance is very elegant. It's more or less for like a refined lady, somebody who dresses up often. It smells like money to me for real. Soapy, fresh, creamy as well, a little fruity, very great fragrance. Everything that I have from this house, I pretty much enjoy for myself, and now that I finally got something for my girl, she likes it too. So the fourth fragrance from Giorgio Armani, and it's C Passion. Giorgio Armani to me has a way of creating niche-like fragrances. I wouldn't necessarily put this in a high price category, so like a $200 fragrance or something like that. But it has some of those nuances, not synthetic at all. Every note that you get from it, you know, it feels like it's a very high quality note. Pretty linear fragrance, but that's cool because what you get in the beginning is what you get throughout. Fresh vanilla, patchouli, like I said, all of these fragrances have patchouli in them. Grapefruit and pear. A soft fruit, not necessarily something that's like overbearing. Absolutely great fragrance. Definitely something for a date. Definitely a fragrance that will leave a great scent trail of sillage, but could also be used in a cozy setting because when it dries down, you still get all those elements, the jasmine, patchouli, the vanilla, but this is a little bit softer. It softens up pretty fast, but it has pretty good longevity. I'm talking about 7 close to 8 hours for this fragrance. Probably one of the longest lasting fragrances on this list, minus the last one that I'm going to mention. So if you want something sexy but elegant, you know, something very confident, I definitely think C Passion is that fragrance that your woman would enjoy and that you would enjoy on your lady. So Number 4 fragrance, Si Passion by Giorgio Armani. So we hit the last fragrance, and if you guys are liking this video, make sure to hit the like button. To me, this is the most interesting, sexy fragrance on this list. It's warm, definitely fall and winter appropriate, something that I think you just want to be up close to her anytime she wears it. You're gonna look around, make sure nobody else is trying to get up close to her too. But interestingly enough, this isn't a fragrance that my wife owns because I wear it. It's a unisex fragrance. Most fragrances, from what I understand and from what people say, are unisex fragrances. Some lean close to the women, some lean close to the men. I think this is great on a woman, but she won't necessarily wear it unless I spray it on her. Like, hey, wear this today. She thinks it's more suited for a guy, but like I said, I love this fragrance on her. And I think most other women would actually gravitate to this fragrance too. And you would definitely gravitate to a woman if she was wearing this fragrance. And this house has a knack for making fragrances that are probably more geared to women, but men fall in love with. I know I'm not the only person that wears fragrances from this house. And most of the fragrances, like I said, if you go in the store, if you go on like Saks or Bloomingdale's, you'll probably see it more or less in the women's section than the guys. So my 5th fragrance is from Van Cleef & Arpels, and it's Moonlight Patchouli. So I told you guys, my girl really loves patchouli, and so she loves this fragrance. And this fragrance has notes of patchouli, cacao, rose, and suede, and leather, I believe. And I think that's what throws her, the leather and the suede notes. She's not against leather and suede notes, but I think she thinks that leather and suede notes are more or less for guys, although they really could fit in the female category. So yes, I own the fragrance, but every now and again, I'll take it and I'll say, hey, give me your hand, spray it on her real quick, and you know, that's that. But I think your lady will really love it. This is definitely the darkest fragrance on this list, and I actually pretty much like dark fragrances, but I buy according to her preferences, not so much mine, because obviously, you know, I got my preferences and I buy everything that I like for myself. So I wear this too. Probably the only fragrance on this list that I definitely absolutely wear. I wouldn't wear any of the other ones. They are definitely women heavy or women focused. But Van Cleef & Arpels, like I said, they have a couple other ones. I think there's one with an apple note or apple title. There's a few Van Cleef & Arpels fragrances that I really just enjoy. But when I was in the store, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. And I actually had the intent to grab it for her. But then she was like, I don't know. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna wear it for myself because this thing is beautiful. It falls in line with those darker fragrances, especially for the fall and winter time. So for your girl, if she like patchouli, cacao, suede and leather, and even rose, I believe she'll really like this fragrance. And if not, hell, you'll like it. Alright guys, that's your guide, or maybe just my guide for fragrances that I think will be great gifts for your lady in the holiday season. Tell me what you think. What are you buying your lady? If your lady follows my channel, you probably don't want to tell me in the comments. But if not, drop a comment anyway. Give me other suggestions. It might be something that I might not have gotten my nose on, and it's something that I could probably try for my lady on the next go round. You know, Valentine's Day coming up, and her birthday is a month afterwards, so it's gifts on gifts on gifts in this house, you know. So in the meantime, make sure to hit the like button, drop a comment, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bells. I know I said I was gonna drop videos 2 or 3 times a week. I'm trying to get back to it. The past couple of weeks has been really hectic with my job, but I am dedicated to this fragrance game, and I'm dedicated to bringing you guys my thoughts and reviews on the latest and greatest, and even some hidden gems. So until next time, make sure you smell good and smile, and buy your lady something. I'm out. I remember smelling it in Sephora while I was in there. Not Sephora, was it Ulta? Yeah. And so now we have my last fragrance. If you guys are liking this video, please hit the like button. So we have my last fragrance. And if you guys are liking this video, hit the like button, let me know that you like it. Oh, I got it in my fucking hand. Alright.